The White House confirms plans to cut Planned Parenthood off from their second largest source of taxpayer funding. The administration announced a new regulation called the Protect Life Rule. It will stop businesses that perform or promote abortions from receiving Title X family planning dollars. That means Planned Parenthood will be cut off from about $60 million a year. The Protect Life Rule does not decrease Title X funding by a single penny. Funds instead will go to service sites willing to comply with the rules to not perform or promote abortion, such as the growing number of community and rural health centers that far outnumber Planned Parenthood facilities. Representative Ron Estes of Kansas led the effort in the U.S. House in urging the Health and Human Services Department to add these Title X restrictions. He joins us now in studio. And Marilyn Musgrave is a former U.S. representative for the state of Colorado and the Vice President of Government Affairs for the Susan B. Anthony list. Thank you both for being here. Big news. Congressman, you've been fighting for this. What's your reaction to this news?
This is phenomenal news. It's happened over the last few days. And the President and administration's announcement that they're going to actually change the Title X regulations back to the way they were intended, and what we want to have happen.
Absolutely. Congresswoman, President Trump, when he was campaigning, made 4 pro-life promises, including the promise to defund Planned Parenthood. In your opinion, do you see this as a checkmark next to that promise, or is this a big step towards it?
It's a very big step towards it, and Congressman, we thank you for leading this effort. What a great job you've done, and then other pro-life leaders stepping up and giving a clear message to the President that we wanted this regulation, and then he is delivering. He's doing what he can do as President to defund Planned Parenthood.
Okay, we need big clarity on this next question. Abortion advocates are calling this a gag rule. Is it?
Oh, that's a complete distortion, if you want to even call it maybe an outright lie. I mean, we're not trying to stop the discussions of abortion. It doesn't even add any more restrictions to those people that wanted to perform abortions. But what we're saying is that the Title X, the statutes that developed Title X, were very clear and said that abortion is not a family planning activity. Right. And we need to make sure that we focus on legitimate health care, legitimate family planning activities, and keep abortion separate for those in organizations maybe that wanted to do that.
Absolutely. And to be clear, there's Title X is not losing a single penny with this new regulation. Is that right? So where are the dollars going now?
So what we're wanting to do is make sure that the Title X, you're right, there is no reduction in funding, but we want to make sure that that money goes to legitimate medical facilities, legitimate medical health care, legitimate family planning needs. So the dollar amounts stay the same. We just want to make sure that we go back to the way the restrictions were, or the rules were when they were set up under President Reagan, that have been signed off by the Supreme Court in terms of being legitimate, and making sure that if people want to perform abortions, they keep that separate from legitimate medical facilities.
Can you tell us more about that Supreme Court ruling? This has been upheld in the court.
It has been, and this regulation goes along with the statutes. So that's, again, the Supreme Court in Russ versus Sullivan has affirmed that. Pro-abortion advocates would like to pretend that abortion is contraception. They'd like to pretend that abortion is health care. It is neither. And all of these entities have to do to receive Title X funding, again, not one penny reduced from the amount, is comply with the regulations. They cannot perform abortions, they cannot co-locate, they cannot refer for abortion.
This announcement came just a few days ago. When can we expect this regulation to be implemented?
Well, there's some waiting periods on how those take to get implemented. It's really been a quick turnaround. Within 2 weeks, we had over 150. We had 153 members of Congress sign that, and that just closed up a couple of weeks ago. And so, with the announcement last week, and actually the full rules coming out this week, it'll take a waiting period to get that rolling forward. But we think we can that the administration can actually start using some of these concepts as they look at the grants that they're currently awarding.
Excellent. And finally, this is such a big story, a big step for the pro-life movement. Is there anything else either of you would like to add to provide some clarity, as we already are seeing that pushback from abortion groups?
I think the biggest thing is making sure that we talk the truth around this. I mean, abortion is not family planning, and we want to make sure when the law was put in place, to implement the Title X funding. We want to make sure that there's legitimate health care provided for, that legitimate family planning was done, and it was very clearly said that abortion wasn't part of legitimate family, or wasn't part of family planning. And we want to make sure that the Title X funds get to the low-income folks that need it, that can use it for their legitimate health needs.
We also don't want a slush fund for Planned Parenthood, because they took in Title X dollars. They could use it for utilities, for rent, for salary, for advertising, and really recruiting in more clients.
Thank you both for your work on this and for your clear insight so our viewers know what this all means. Representative Ron Estes and Marilyn Musgrave, thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.